as I said, it is so good to be back. And as you know, well, most of you know, went to Egypt for 2 weeks. And those that were there, would you stand just to go, hey, my Egyptian travelers, woohoo, yeah. It's so good to be back. We had a time beyond words, and people have asked me, I can't wait to hear you tell me about Egypt. And what I'm going to tell you is, to be honest, I can't tell you about Egypt. Egypt is not a place. Egypt is an experience. And when you go to Egypt, each person will have an individualized discovery of what that is for themselves. That's what I can tell you about Egypt. It's not something I can tell you about. And it's similar to the experience that we call life. Because life is a mystery, and life is an experience. It's not a place. It's not a thing. It's an experience, and we're always experiencing. And recently, I just heard or read this statement, which I really love, so I thought I'd share it with you. And we always say things like we are, spiritual beings having spiritual beings having human experience. But what I heard or read was, we are spiritual beings trying to learn how to have a human experience. Doesn't that work for you? I was like, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm just trying to learn. I'm a divine being, and what is this thing about a flu bug? And how do I be in the humanness of that? So that is what I wanted to share with you. So we are in December, and along with December, we have a multitude of cultural and religious observances and celebrations. We have Advent, we have Hanukkah that began on the 7th, Bodhi Day on the 8th of December. We have the Yule, winter solstice, on the 21st, and then we have, of course, Christmas on the 25th and Kwanza on the 26th. And there's probably some more sprinkled in there. So last week, the first of the observances in December happened on December 3rd, last Sunday. And I really want to give a shout out and a thank you to Peg Durkee, who I called on a Thursday, and I went, as much as I want to be there, I don't think it's happening. And she was willing to do the talk. I was in the cyber sanctuary, and she did an excellent job. Right? She really did. So Peg, wherever you are, thank you. She's really a gifted speaker, and she spoke about seeing the Christ in every person, in every place, and talked about how hard that can be at times. And also, it was the beginning of Advent. And Advent is the 4 weeks that is prior to the Christmas day, where most Christian traditions are preparing for the second coming of the Christ, or the rebirth of, and also celebrating the first birth of Jesus, the man who became known as the Christ. So she talked about that. And so what they have is a quality, an attribute that we all have, that if we engage in, that's helping us to prepare for a deepening of our awareness of the Christ within ourselves and each other. So the first week was about hope and faith. And that's when, in the middle of turbulent times, how do you still have faith and hope? And actually, turbulent times are a gift, because where do you get to practice your hope and your faith the most? When things are easy or when things are tough. And so you get to say, whether, regardless of the circumstances, the appearances, I have hope and faith that things are getting better. So now we're moving into the second week of Advent, and I want to read this little piece about what metaphysically the Advent is, because I like how this is spoken. Metaphysically, the Advent season is a time for increasing our capacity to experience the Christ, or the divine presence within us. It's a time of preparation and making room in our awareness that we are spiritual beings, trying to learn how to be a human being. And I threw that in. Advent is a quiet, reflective time as we sit in the stillness and the darkness waiting for a greater experience of the light. See, you can't know light without the darkness. They're the contrast. And so we're supposed to slow down, actually, at this time of the year if we followed nature's lead, and I don't see that happening, especially when I go to the stores and I'm like, this place is a madhouse. Yeah, pretty much, right? So we have these 4 Sundays, and Hope and Faith was the first week. The second week, which is today, December 10th, we are focusing on peace, the light of peace. So I'm going to begin with a definition by Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of the Science of Mind teachings. And he calls peace the state of inner calm. The state of inner calm that nothing can disturb. What? The state of inner calm that nothing can disturb. How many of you have that state of peace where 100% of the time that you are in such a state of inner calm that nothing can disturb you? Anybody? How many of you would like to? Yeah, right? So that's where we're going to go, is how do we establish this state of this inner peace? I'm going to go back to Ernest Holmes. He says in the Science of Mind text in The Great Search, he writes, peace is an inner calm, obtained through man's knowledge of what he believes and why. Without knowledge, there is no lasting peace. Now, what is the knowledge about? Nothing can bring peace but the revelation of the individual to himself and a recognition of his direct relationship to the universe. We must know that we are eternal beings on the pathway of life with certainty behind us, certainty before us, and certainty within us. Peace is brought about through a conscious unity of the personal man with the inner principle of his life, that underlying current, excuse me, flowing from a divine center, pressing outward into expression. No one can do this for you except yourself. So what gets in the way of us having this inner calm, of this inner peace where nothing can disturb us? I believe there's 2 things. And the first one is thinking that peace is the absence or removal of conflict. You know, peace is when there's no trouble in the world, everything's still. Well, I believe that peace can only be experienced when there's conflict and chaos. That's where peace is found. It's the same with that light and dark. You can't know peace without the absence of light, which is called dark. And the same goes with peace. You can't know peace, really understand what peace is, without the idea of chaos and conflict. So again, chaos and conflict is a gift. So when you have that chaos and conflict, you can understand it's a time to practice a deeper sense of that peace. I like to think of it as the eye of the storm. A hurricane has the eye where it's perfect peace, while everything is swirling about. And again, that to me is that inner calm that nothing can disturb me. The second reason I believe that we struggle with having that inner calm is that we often think that peace is something that we can create. If I only do this, I could be more peaceful. What can I do to help have more peace in our lives? Not to say that we can't contribute some to our peace. However, peace is not something that you make happen. Peace is who you are. Peace is who you are, not something you create. Back to Ernest, he says in his pamphlet on peace, peace is your true nature. You do not need to go in search of peace, because peace is within you and it's always available. Begin to believe and affirm that peace is your constant companion, and that you live, move, and have your being in peace. Peace is your true essence of who you are, Whether you know it or not, you are emanating peace right now. Peace is at the center of your soul. It's never been disturbed. It's never been afraid. It's never harmed anyone, and it's never hurt. There is that light of inner peace. Know that the peace within you has all the power because it is the spirit of the divine within you. Know that peace is the supreme truth of your being, and it is real. The peace at the center of your being has always existed. It was not given to you by the world, so it cannot be taken away. The possibility of feeling peaceful is never dependent upon some external circumstance or event. Rather, you have the power to choose peace no matter what is happening around you, to discover stillness in any situation. So, you ready to start doing that and understanding that you are peace? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. I heard a little exuberance there. So, because I did say that you might, you can't create peace, but you can increase your experience of it. So I'm going to share with you a combination acronym of how you can increase your experience of creating, not that you can create, deepening your awareness of the peace that you are. It's an ABC, but then it becomes CPR. So this is the ABC and CPR of peace. So A stands for awareness. You need to notice when you feel conflict. When you are feeling agitated, irritated, off, you know the feeling. You know when you're off. You get that feeling. You have to be aware of that. You can't change anything without your awareness. You're just living in your subconsciousness or whatever consciousness, but you're not aware. Hey, something is disturbing me. So you got that awareness? Well, then you're going to go to number 2, which you do all the time, but not to the degree that you can do when you're doing the peace, and that is to breathe. We breathe all the time, but how much deep breathing do you do versus shallow breathing? That's a no-brainer. And here's the thing. When I was in Egypt, I wore my mask more than anybody else when there was a crowd. I always had my mask on. And what I realized when I wear a mask, I actually am more conscious of my breath because I slow down in my breathing because I have this thing over my, so it's actually a gift when I have a mask on. It helps me to be aware of my breath in that mask experience. So breathe. So we're aware and we're breathing on a deeper level. And number 3, we go to consciously choose. Consciously choose. You have to be conscious, and that's part of the awareness. But our greatest power is not love. Our greatest power is choice. Our greatest power in the world is choice. We can choose a different thought, a different experience. When I change how I'm seeing something, I change my experience of it. Choice, choice, choice. I can choose a different thought, a different behavior. We have the power of choice. So we're aware, we're breathing, and we're consciously choosing. Now we're going to go into CPR. And consciously choosing, we're going to take that C, the consciously choose. What are we consciously choosing? We're consciously choosing peace. We are consciously choosing peace. Now, how can you consciously choose peace? By repetition of what you are saying. It's easy. I am peace. I am peaceful. I am peace. I am peaceful. I'm relaxed. I am relaxing. I am peace. I want you to close your eyes. And as I say these words, I want you to repeat them either quietly within or just out loud quietly. I am peace. I am peaceful. I am peace. I am peaceful. Peace is here. I am here. I am peace. I am peaceful. Very good. So you can do this, and I would advise doing it in the morning, in noon. One of the great things about going to Egypt is they get a call to prayer 5 times a day, and you hear the things that they blow, and they go into prayer. That they stop what they're doing and they're in prayer 5 times a day. And so when you're standing in that line at the grocery store or you're driving your car, you can say, I am peace, I am peaceful. I am peace, I am peaceful. So you've got now your CPR, you're consciously choosing peace. And what's the R? Release. In order to have peace, we need to release. And I love that they rhyme. Release for peace. What do you need to release? Oh, well, let's see. There's a list. You might want to release the regrets, the old regrets, the past, the stories. Nobody has excuses, right? But if you have any, release them. How about releasing the resentments? I know none of you resent anything. You might want to think about that and release it, okay? How about blame and judgment? Oh, none of that's going on. There's a lot of ways that we can blame and judge. What if I released it? And releasing, to me, is forgiveness. And forgiveness is all about letting go, that it will be the way I want it to be. Ooh, wanting a different past, wanting something different. It is what it is. And that leads us to letting go of expectations. How many of you have expectations? You do, I know. We all want to have something, or having things be the way that I want them to be. I might want to release that. Like I had to release not being able to be here last week. It's like, okay, I let go. As much as I wanted to be here, surrender, Dorothy. Let go of that which is standing in the way of the peace within me. There's so many things that we can let go of. Might be fears, doubts, worries. How about the need to control? Nah. So what is it that you need to release to have more peace? Close your eyes. Ask yourself, what do I need to release to have more peace? I need to release good. Now you know because you're aware, you're breathing, you're consciously choosing peace, and you know what you're needing to release. So I'm going to share with you a short story about what I think is a great demonstration of a group of people that actually, they exhibited a lot of things, but one of them, I believe, was peace. And this is the story of Hanukkah. And this is told by Rabbi Yachel, and I probably am screwing up the name, Eckenstein, the founder and president of the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. The story of Hanukkah begins more than 2,000 years ago when a powerful Greek-Syrian army invaded and occupied Israel. They tried to impose paganism by forcing them to eat non-kosher food, forbidding circumcision, and placing a pagan idol, Zeus, in the temple. While many people tried to accommodate this powerful new regime, a small group of Jews known as the Maccabees stood strong in their devotion to God. Led by Matthias and his brothers, the Maccabees, revolted against this powerful army and miraculously, despite overwhelming odds, prevailed. After their victory, the Jews went to purify their temple during the 8-day Feast of Dedication. But when they went to light the temple's eternal flame, they realized they only had enough oil to keep the flame burning for one day. In an inspiring act of faith, they lit it anyway. They trusted, and miraculously, the lamp remained lit for 8 days. This is why Hanukkah is celebrated for 8 days and is called the Festival of Lights. The word Hanukkah actually is split into two words, and it means they rested, and the second part, ka, means the 25th. And on the 25th day, they rested. It was a major day, and they went into the temple. Again, it was in shambles, and the real word of Hanukkah means dedication. And because they were already dedicated, this was about a rededication. So that is the story of these Maccabees. I believe that they're an example of peace. And I'll tell you how that works, and I want to relate that to your own life. So first of all, in your own life, what is the army of interruption or invasion into your peace, into your world of peace? Is there a physical challenge or diagnosis, mental or physical, that has interrupted your flow of peace? Is there a financial insecurity or challenge in your life that has interrupted? Is there a relationship interruption, perhaps loss, separation, disagreements, conflict, hurt, resentments? Is the invasion not of a good sense of purpose, having a loss of direction, not knowing where you're going? Perhaps it's the invasion of or interruption of your self-worth and not really having as much love and care and feel of worthiness and connection to God. I believe if we're all truthful, we all can discover that we have some sort of an army of invasion in our thoughts, in our lives. And so, like the Maccabees, first of all, you have to be aware of what that place is of disturbance. As I said, we're going back to the ABC PR. They were aware. The Maccabees were aware there's a conflict. And they breathed. I'm sure they breathed. And then they consciously chose. And when they consciously chose, the word I say revolted. They didn't stand, they stood their ground and said, no. We know that we are the divine in expression. God in us is more powerful. So they went back to that part that I spoke of. Ernest Holmes says that to have peace, you need to know your relationship with the divine. So the Maccabees knew that, and they were willing to stand up for that and choosing peace. So they chose peace by their lighting of a candle, of a lamp. That is the choice. They took an action, and they released any fears, doubts, or worries. They didn't go, oh, well, there's only one lamp, we're screwed. They could have said that. They didn't say that. They went, we know the power of the divine within. So they lit the one lamp. It lasted for 8 days. They understood that the light is more powerful than the darkness. They used the ABC PR process. They were the light of peace. You are the light of peace. We are the light of peace. Happy Hanukkah.